Hello friends, season 1 is on its way, and if you are still like me, I know you are still wondering who should be your old or your main. I think you have already chose your main, but maybe you are still thinking about it. Some people have leveled up 3 to 4 characters and they are trying to find out who are they going to stick with. Today we're going to talk about melee DPS and what melee DPS is the most fun. Just so you know, I am playing only melee DPS since Legion, I should say, and I have a bit of experience with most of these specs. So let's talk about who, in my opinion, is the most fun to play melee DPS. Starting with Frost DK. For Frost DK, the damage is actually amazing. I think this is one of the best things that a melee DPS has to have to be fun, to deal a lot of damage. But just as a disclaimer, if you don't like the gameplay of the spec, you should not choose that spec just because it does a lot of damage, since you are just going to get bored of it and then you will get bored of the game altogether. You will have to start a new character. You might think that is very time consuming and you will just decide to not play anymore. Frost DK, if you like the plate style hard hitting gameplay, which I do, find Frost DK very fun. Actually, the damage is very good. The abilities feel impactful. We are going to talk about other specs that I think they just have too many spells and they don't feel impactful at all. But as for the Frost DK, they bring insane damage. They are actually S tier in damage in raiding and in mythic plus, and I feel that they are fun. What they lack is mobility, so that is a bit of a drawback for me. But if you like classes that just hit hard, they don't have that much mobility, it's fine. The thing about Frost DK, they are also very tanky, so you are not going to die very fast. You are not so squishy. You have a lot of cooldowns, like Leechborn, like Death Strike, like Anti-Magic Shield. You have very many tools. Also, your cooldowns are so cool. You have the Dragon, you have Syndragosa, you have Pillar of Frost. You are just going to have something to press at all times, but they don't feel bloated with a lot of spells that are not impactful. So just because on the mobility side I feel like they are a bit lacking, and I know people like that a lot, I'm still going to put Frost DK S tier just because I think it's going to be also my second ult. Unholy Death Knight, when it comes to mobility, is the same as the Frost DK, but the damage is just not there. I used to main Unholy Death Knight in season 3 of Dragonflight, and I must say, even though I got good gear, I was doing till mythic bosses actually with it, and some high keys, I don't really like the gameplay of the diseases and stuff like that. I didn't really enjoy it that much, so that made me kind of quit the game for a while. But I think Unholy DK right now is even worse. So without the damage of the Frost and the same mobility, which is almost no mobility, I think Unholy DK has to go into C tier. They can be fun in some situations. I don't think it's a D, but still, Unholy DK, I don't really like it that much. But some people, I know a lot of people like that, like the disease spreading and stuff like that. But I don't think I'm going to play this spec soon. Maybe if it's going to be buffed and it's going to be really good, but I don't like it. I enjoy Frost more. Havoc Demon Hunter, my main for 2 expansions actually. I used to play this spec a lot, but right now I feel that it's just so bloated. Too many spells, too many passives, too many spells to press that are not that impactful. You just have so much. The mobility is insane, of course, as always. The cooldowns are great. You are healing for a lot. I mean, it's a Demon Hunter, right? You have the stance, you have the utility. It's a very good spec. I can't say it's a bad spec. Actually, right now I think it sits at around A tier in terms of damage, utility, and what it brings to a group. Also, you have the Chaos brand buff, of course, but still, Demon Hunter for me, I just don't enjoy it anymore. I feel like you just have to jump around. You have to use Fell Rush way too much right now because you have that proc with Immolate and stuff. too many buttons that they don't need to be there. Maybe if they got rid of 2 or 3 buttons you have to press, I would play it again. In Legion I had a lot of fun. In Shadowlands actually I had a lot of fun with the Havoc Demon Hunter as well. I felt that it was way more intuitive than now. Now it's like you can just press any button and you will do damage. It's still a keyboard stamper. It just something doesn't feel right with it. I don't know, maybe it's the hero talents, maybe it's the amount of spell that it has. The mobility is there, but I just don't like it that much. I'm still going to put it higher than the Unholy DK just because it's a spec that I love and I used to play a lot. But for me, it's a no. Feral Druid, the survivability of the Feral Druid is one of the highest of every spec. I should say the mobility is great, is on par with the Demon Hunter. They have a lot of stuff that they can do, but the damage is lacking. And for me, if you are lacking in damage just for utility, I don't think I'm going to enjoy the class. Besides, they use the combo point style of play, which I don't really enjoy. Feral, I never mained Feral. Actually, I did some tests on Feral a couple of weeks ago, and I must say they are just lacking some stuff in terms of damage. They need some buffs like ASAP that if they are going to be here. The mobility I said is good. I don't really like the fantasy of it either, to be a cat and stuff like that. Still, I think this is until now the worst spec to play in my opinion in terms of fun. Let's get that straight. So in terms of fun, Feral Druid, it's just not for me. It's a D tier for me. Survival Hunter. I did play Survival Hunter season 1 of Dragonflight. It was very, very good if I remember in Mythic Plus, or maybe it was BFA season 3. Yeah, somewhere around there. Survival Hunter had some good seasons in Mythic Plus. They were like top DPS and I did try it. For a long time I haven't tried because I thought it was like a meme spec or stuff like that. But when I tried it, I felt it was a lot of fun. And right now, let me tell you, it does good damage. You have the mobility, you have the utility. It's a very good spec, I should say. In terms of what it can do in raids and M+, I think it's a high A tier. And in terms of fun, if you like the bombing playstyle, the hooks, hitting from range when it's needed because you have Fury of the Eagle or something of the Eagle. Also, you have a pet if you like pet management, which I do actually. I do like some pet management, but not that much. But as you know, it's not that important to manage your pet nowadays in PvE. It's more important in PvP. So yeah, I like the Hunter playstyle. I like the Hunter fantasy, especially the Survival Hunter fantasy. When you think of Rexar and stuff like that, if you watch some lore and if you enjoy that as well, it's going to add to the fun that you're going to get out of survival. So I think this one is a very, very good spec. I'm actually thinking of making him one of my ults. I must say I'm torn between Survival Hunter, DK, and Enhancement Shaman. But we're going to talk about them a bit later. Survival Hunter, I'm going to put it in S+. I must say it does not do the same damage as Frost DK, but I find it more fun than Frost Decay. But so maybe I'm thinking maybe Frost Decay should be A actually in terms of fun. Yeah, let's put Frost Decay in A. Even though the fantasy of the Frost Decay being that Lich King type of character, you know, it's very, very appealing to most of the people, but I think the Survival Hunter fantasy is more appealing to me, in my opinion. Now we go to Windwalker Monk. Windwalker Monk is a lot of fun, guys. It's a lot of fun. In raiding, they do very well. They have good damage in M+ as well. I think they do better in M+ than in raiding. Utility, they don't really have that much utility, but when it comes to mobility, they are very, very good. And in terms of survivability, it's not that great. If you like the karate style of play, you know, with the fists of thunder, with the kicks, with the, if you press 2 spells in a row, you're going to lose damage, so you always have to think about using another type of spell in your combos, which I like type of gameplay. As I said, you have a lot of mobility. Till the leather types nowadays, I don't really enjoy the leather armor types. Fantasy is great, Kung Fu Master or whatever you want to call it is very good. So I think it's on par with the DH actually. Yes, for me, Monk is on par with the DH. They have good damage, they have good mobility. When it comes to buttons to press, I don't think it's as bad as DH, and you don't really have to be everywhere on the map and stuff like that. Even though DH has better survivability, I think I'm actually going to put the Monk in front of the DH, because I think in this season 1 is going to be more fun to play than the DH. And now big boy Shaman, big boy Shaman. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Shaman has one of the highest damage in this expansion, on par with Frost DK, I should say. They hit like a truck, and the fantasy is amazing. I love the lightning style Sasuke, Uchiha, Chidori stuff and everything. They call thunders, they have the dogs with the lightning and everything. It's amazing. For me, it's amazing. They actually now have a very good change, in which that they have a buff of mastery, and I think it was called the Windrush Totem in the past, and now it's just a buff that you put on your allies for 60 minutes, just like an arcane intellect. I tried to play it in Dragonflight, and just putting that totem down all the time just did not feel so fun. But right now it's very fun, guys. Every button that you press, it feels like you are doing tons of damage. It feels like it's impactful. One downside of the enhancement Shaman, I think, is that it has a lot of buttons to press. So if you want to play enhancement Shaman, you can't play it without weak auras, because there are so many passes that you have to take into account, that it's very hard to know what to press next and stuff like that. So you must use a weak aura if you want to play enhancement Shaman. High skill cap spec, I should say. It's not that easy to get into, because it might get you some sensory overload and stuff like that, but I think it's very fun. The animations are the best in the game. For me, of course, the fantasy is nice. I always liked Shaman since Warcraft 3, since Troll. So yeah, I think Shaman, is it on par with... No, it has to be S tier. Shaman is S tier, guys. Even though they have a lot of buttons to press and stuff like that, Shaman is still S tier. I really enjoy Shaman. And now my main, the Retribution Paladin. I must say, guys, since they reworked the Paladin, I loved it. I freaking loved it. Since season 2, I think, in Dragonflight, they did the rework on the Paladin, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Right now, I think some changes in November are planned, like huge changes. I hope they don't ruin it, because I love the Paladin as it is now. Simple, straight to the point. I love it how it is now with the Holy Power Spender. It's just exactly what I need. What it can be improved on is the damage. The damage in AoE is good, don't get me wrong, it's very good. Survivability, we are paladins, we have heals, we have Divine Shield, we have Shield of Vengeance, we have what else? Lay on Hands. We also have good utility for the group. Right now we got, I would say, good mobility, not as good as the others have, like Demon Hunter and Monk or Feral, but we still have very good mobility. The damage that we are doing is not that hard to do, so the skill cap of the Paladin is not that high. The skill ceiling, I should say, is not that high. It's easy to get into the spec, it's easy to play, so if you are looking for a spec that you just want to play and you are new to the game maybe, or you are coming back and you love melee DPS, I think you should choose Retribution Paladin, guys. Retribution Paladin is a very good all-around spec, in my opinion. We'll see in November when they do the changes. By the way, if you want me to talk about the updates for Retribution Paladin, write a comment below, throw a like, and yeah, Retribution Paladin, it's S tier for me. It has to be. It has to be. I love the gameplay. I love the fantasy of a Warrior of the Light. Templar now, you know, oh my god. When we are talking about hero talents, the Templar hero talent is the best. Templar and DK hero talent, not the one that they summon horsemen. That one is actually better because I feel like the fantasy is complete there when they summon the 4 horsemen and stuff like that. Is very. I know I'm getting a bit nerdy and stuff, but I really enjoy that. But they have the other one where they put a mark on you and then they do a scythe thing, cut through everything. It's very, very nice. Now let's go to the rogue specs. Rogues, guys, I did main a rogue in Legion Season 1, an Asa rogue which I really enjoyed. I think it was straightforward and stuff like that. But right now, the rogue specs, I mean, Asa has to be the highest because it's more intuitive than the others. I like the hero talent. I like how it plays actually with the bleeds and stuff like that. The combo power spending mechanic I don't really like. As for the feral, but I don't know, something about rogue fantasy always appealed to me, being stealthy, being like that. But it can be very, very hard to play sometimes because most of the combos that you have to do, it requires that you go in and out of stealth a lot, using vanish, using you know, the bars changing. Always you have to know, oh, I'm in stealth, I have the passive that when I'm out of stealth I still can use stealth spells for 5 minutes. So yeah, it's a tough spec to play, I would say. Sensory overload is going to be through the roof. But if you can get through that, I think some of these specs are a lot of fun. The 2 swords playstyle I do enjoy, but I don't think I like that much. Still, mobility is good, utility is good. Rogues are always going to be sought after, and they are always going to have a spot in M+ high keys or in raids. Of course, it depends on which spec is better. So right now, I think Assassination is better. That's why I'm going to put Assassination Rogue on B and the other 2 specs on C. For me, as I said, leather types, right now I'm not feeling them, guys. I'm just not feeling them, the leather types. I'm going to have to be honest. And now, last but not least, we have the 2 warrior specs. So the 2 specs of warriors, guys, let's see. I actually enjoy warrior a lot. I did not play Warrior until maybe Shadowlands. Yes, I think I played Warrior first time in Shadowlands and in Classic WoW a little bit, but in Classic WoW, as you know, leveling as a Warrior is not that great, but afterwards at max level you hit very, very hard, of course. But right now I'm really enjoying Warrior, guys. I must say it's one of the classes that I enjoy the most, even though I did not take them into account as an alt. That might change. It depends on what I like most, but when I'm thinking about alts, just because I want to push high keys and do like mythic raiding, I have the Paladin as my main, but just because of its damage in raid is not that great, I'm just going to have to roll another alt just to get invited. So for my guild, they need a shaman, they need DKs, of course, they do lots of damage, and I think that Arms Warrior is a bit better when it comes to raiding, but is worse when it comes to M+ than the Paladin. And Fury, I think it does better in both. Fury, I think it's something like an A tier, and Paladin right now in terms of how good they are in raids and Mythic Plus. They are better in Mythic Plus. They are like high B to A tier, but I think in raiding they are like a C tier. So yeah, their single target damage is not amazing. So let's talk about warriors and where should we put them. I feel that they are so fun actually, so I'm just going to put them both in A tier. So that's it, guys, for the tier list. If you agree with me, drop a comment. If not, tell me what melee classes and specs are you enjoying the most in the War Within Season 1.